Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to like skip the intro, man. Just so you guys know, this is Drew Taylor, everyone. I'm like, we'll cut off like a bit of the beginning part, but like this is Drew Taylor, man. He's like the best human I know. I mean, I go to him when I need some advice, some counsel. He's really like tuned in with God and at the same time a killer entrepreneur. I mean, he's ran a huge coaching business. He's had his own digital agency. He does like freight brokering, and then most recently it's the stuff with like crypto and Forex and some automated trading, which is just like out of this world cool. And we'll definitely dig into that because I think that's like a huge part about the show is like I'm trying to like give some information to people so that they can I mean, they can take it and maybe they're not starting a business or they already have, or they can create another income stream or whatever. I'm just trying to help people with this and trying to bring people on who have the information to help them. And you are definitely one of those dudes. So dude, thank you so much for being on, man.
Dude, absolutely. Stoked to be here. And obviously excited just to have a conversation. And I've never had a boring conversation with you. So I'm sure today will be just like all the others. So
for sure, man.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's kick it back a little bit. I want this is stuff I'm actually curious about because I've known you for a little while and I don't get to ask these questions. What was it like growing up as little Drew Taylor, man? Like what was family life like? And how did that shape you? I'm interested. Were you middle class, poor, rich? Like what were you growing up like?
So we're pretty poor for sure. I grew up in Wichita, Kansas, which is, it's the biggest city in Kansas, but we grew up in not like the greatest area of town, but did have a loving family, which I'm very, very thankful for. Everybody's got something to complain about when it comes to family or how they grew up, or everybody wants to like dwell on their emotional trauma they sustained. But I truly believe it's a waste of time. I think you need to move out of the past and move forward. So like, none of that even like comes into my, in my sphere anymore. There's things, that I could say, boohoo, poor me. But at the same time, it doesn't really help anybody because it's all about moving forward and healing through it, as opposed to going back to the past and staying there. And so, like I said, all in all, grew up in a very loving family. I'm very thankful for that. But since we didn't grow up in the best part of town, kids were bringing, weapons to school and just, it was, just a rough area. So I was in public school from kindergarten through third grade. And then in fourth grade, my parents pulled us out, all of my siblings, which I have 4 sisters. I'm number 2 in the lineup. So they pulled us out of school, decided they were going to homeschool us. So, so went the whole homeschool route, which was pretty tight quarters. There were 7 of us in a 950 square foot home. Ooh. And so, we basically had kitchen and living room, which were basically one piece, one part, a little like 10-foot hallway with a bathroom, and then all 3 bedrooms were boom, boom, boom. Sneaking out was difficult.
I bet, dude. And you're you're the only boy and you have 4 sisters?
Yep, only boy. So that was fun.
Is your dad happy to have you or what?
Oh my gosh, dude, absolutely. Otherwise, he would have just been overrun with estrogen. But thankfully for me, he had someone to beat up on and make tough and everything else. Didn't have to, which honestly, my sisters are pretty tough as it is, dude. Like, I bet they are. Thankfully, I had enough influence on their lives to turn them into tomboys. And so, we grew up, skateboarding together, riding bikes, building ramps, all that kind of stuff. And so all of my sisters today, they're still rough and tough. And they don't mess around. And so, if the end of the world came tomorrow, they're the type of people that all of their friends would run to and be like, what do we do? Because they just get it. And like I said, growing up, we obviously had our differences as siblings, but it was still, man, a blessing. And to come from those type of beginnings, it just makes me feel very, not necessarily proud, but like very thankful for where my life has gone and the
Yeah.
person, exactly, dude, so
Blessed.
blessed. Like
Yeah.
people like me coming from my neighborhood, they don't end up in a position where I'm at. And so it's
Yeah.
just crazy, man.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, brother. I didn't ask you if this is okay to talk about. So if it's not, you just be like, hey man, I don't want to talk about this right now, but I do want to, I'm interested. I know this because I know you, but you were in the church as a kid. And then, I mean, even Cal mentioned this on his episode. He like, a lot of people go through this. They're in the church and they don't, there's like almost like politics or something going on.
Always something.
You know what I mean? That like doesn't really vibe once you, especially when you're starting to question things. Everyone goes through a little bit of rebellious phase as well too.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to hear like what was that like for you when you kind of fell out of the church, and I don't remember if you like ever like quote unquote stopped believing in God, or if it was like, you know, this road back to it. But I am really like interested what that period of your life was like, and what was the pivotal moment back to it. Because you were like, I mean, like you see the cross on his wall, man. I'm like, he's and he holds Bible study every Wednesday night, which like guys, you got to get to, and I need to get to. I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
She's been missing.
Dude, yeah.
But yeah,
the more the merrier, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Cool, man. But yeah, do you mind if you don't want to go into it? It's all good.
More than happy to, bro. Yeah, we'll see if your audience is ready for this story, because it is very non-traditional, I'll tell you that. But you know, since we're still kind of talking about my family, I grew up in a family where every male in my on my father's side of the family is a pastor. Every single one. My dad was the only one out of his entire family that was not a pastor. And I say that because my dad's brother is a pastor. My grandfather was the pastor of the church we grew up in, right? Where we had to be like the perfect children because we were the preacher's kids and grandkids. All of my grandfather's brothers were pastors. His dad was a pastor. My grandmother's parents, pastor and church builder. I mean, you go to any man on that side of the house. My grandmother's brother and brother-in-law, pastors or missionaries.
Wow.
Yeah. And so when I was a kid, I go hang out with my grandpa, in the mornings, on Sunday mornings before he was, preaching and whatnot. I kind of get to see the back end, behind the scenes admin office type stuff. And as a kid, I always told my grandpa, I was like, one day I'm going to be a pastor like you, and because that's just I don't know. It was almost like as a kid, I knew like this is the family business,
Right.
And so all that to say, I was very plugged into the church. I mean, I was homeschooled, so it's not like I had friends anywhere else other than church,
Yeah.
And so that was all fine and dandy until one year when I was either 14 or 15. I went on a church trip with all my friends and whatnot. And long story short, myself and the pastor's son at that time, because my grandfather retired, they had a new guy in there. Myself and the pastor's son, we started taking photos of like nothing bad at all, but just doing a simple hand gesture, not the middle finger, but a different hand gesture. And we started doing it in all of our photos that we were taking on the trip, right? Somebody have a camera, we'd hop in it, photobomb it, do this hand sign. And by the end of that trip, it was like a week-long trip out in the Colorado mountains. We used to call it Youthquake. It was us and like 3 or 4 other churches. And so there's like hundreds of people out there. And by the end of the week, right, we had probably about 75% of all the churchgoers that were at this event, this like, camping event, all throwing up this hand sign in their photos. Like it was like the hand sign of the year, And so long story short, we get back to Wichita. And then within a week, dude, basically my dad's like beating down my door, like, what's going on? Why are they calling me? Because they had called into the church. And I was like, oh gosh, honestly, like I'd forgot about it. I didn't really think about it. I was a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, 14. Yeah, exactly.
Well, one of the girls on the trip got her film developed, because back then you didn't have digital cameras all over the place. Got their film developed, and was going through the photos of the trip with her parents. And her dad, who's like a burly firefighter, knew exactly what hand sign that was. And he's like, "Who taught you this?" And you know, and they're like, "Drew and, you know, pastor's kid." You know, we were doing it in all of our photos, you know. And long story short, that incident alone actually got me kicked out of that church at 14 years old for doing a hand gesture, right?
That's a pivotal time, and for like a crazy reason.
Exactly. And you know, that was the church I grew up in. That was the church that my grandfather preached in, so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden I went from having pretty much only a church community and a few homeschool friends to no community, other than, you know, my neighborhood kids that, you know, we used to do just, you know, hood rat things, you know, with back in the day, and, you know, and try to get away with everything. And so that's pretty much what I was stuck with. And you know, when that happened, and then when I saw how I was treated as, you know, by Christians and whatnot, I'm like, dude, these people are fake, man. Like, this is BS. Like, I'm done with this. I'm done trying to be perfect. And not to mention, after this happened, like, my parents lost all trust in me. So basically, if they thought anything was shady, it was like, you're doing the worst of the worst, and like, we know it. And I'm like, dude, I'm homeschooled. What's the worst thing I can do here, you know? But that kind of led me definitely into a rebellious period where I didn't want anything to do with Christians and Jesus. You know, sneaking out very regularly, drinking heavily, you know, at like 15, 16 years old, you know, hooking up with chicks, and to the point where I was kind of afraid of myself at that point. Like, how far is this going to go? And so that was kind of my life for the next few years, until I was 17. And because I was homeschooled, I was able to graduate homeschool at 16. And then I started going to a community college, which got me out of the house, which is kind of nice, you know. But then my grandparents said, you know, well, hey, if you go to a Bible college, if you go to a Christian college, we'll pay for it. And so that, you know, they'd pay for at least the first year, right? So I was like, cool, that gets me out of Wichita and away from some of my friends that I'm doing bad things with, some of the girls that I have relationships with. Mm-hmm. And so I jumped at the opportunity, and I was like, yes, this is probably what I need. And so I'm thankful to have the conscience to make that decision, even though I did not want to go to a Bible college at all. I actually moved to Joplin, Missouri, went to a Bible college there for one semester, but that was all I really needed to get me out of Wichita and out of the house. And because things, you know, at home had kind of gotten bad around that time. So anyway, that was just kind of like the whole rebellious period. I ended up, you know, working at a teen youth center, which was Christian based and whatnot. And so like I could like walk the walk, talk the talk, just like the best of them. But in behind the scenes, what I was starting to get into is like very much like super deep into new age stuff, right? I knew that God was real, but God was no longer personal to me. God was a force, right? And it was a force that we could manipulate and manifest things with, and so on and so forth. And I went head deep, you know, dove straight into the shallow end with that one, and, you know, started reading, you know, different books that were all about manifestation, or, you know, getting your spirit guides to like give you things, or, you know, just stuff that's like, you know, very woo woo that unfortunately a lot of people are into because they don't know anything better. And you know, even reading, you know, let's see here, Think and Grow Rich, you know, very much new agey beliefs, and there's a lot of law of attraction type stuff in there, right? Which law of attraction says that you are the god of your own universe and you can manifest anything you want. And I think that's a very dangerous thought process. Do I think you should work for what you want? Absolutely. But a lot of people are, you know, blab it and grab it, think it into existence. It doesn't work like that, right? The universe is not conscious. The universe is a creation of a conscious God. And so therefore, for us to essentially kind of try to manipulate the universe, there's set laws in place. Good luck turning gravity off. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time, I was just a young teenage kid at that time, so I didn't know any better. But all of that to say, years and years went by. I got deeper and deeper into psychedelics and plant medicines and things like that. And it was actually on a mushroom trip that—
wait, what did you say? What you said, psychedelics and what?
Plant medicines.
Oh, plant medicines. Got it. Okay.
Yep. Like, ayahuasca, DMT,
Oh, sheesh.
mushrooms. Yeah. All
Wow.
that kind of stuff. And, because I knew that there was something spiritual out there, and I was determined to seek the truth, to find the
Yeah.
truth. There's a lot of people who say that they're seeking the truth, but they never go research anything for themselves, right? They just, they're going to take somebody else's word for it. Oh, well, if you're Buddhist and you believe this, then sounds good enough. I'll do that too. Right. But I was determined, like, if what I grew up believing is BS, then I'm going to go find the actual truth, because we're not here by accident. There's just no possible way that a big explosion happened and that, like the perfection of the universe and humans and animals and nature, everything got created by accident. You know what I mean? It just doesn't even make sense. It takes way more faith to believe that than to believe that God created it. And so, years and years of, kind of going down that path, I happened to go to the park one day, took some mushrooms. I got pretty deep in it because I was looking for answers. And I thought that was going to be the way that bridged me to the spiritual realm where I could learn more and yada, yada. And on this trip, man, it's like the veil that was over my eyes, the spiritual veil was lifted, and I could actually see what was going on behind the scenes, right? We can only perceive this third dimension, right? But any sort of spiritual dimension upon that, it was like literally I got to pull back the curtain and see what was going on. And what I saw, like, scared the crap out of me, man. I saw like these dark demonic, creatures, for lack of a better term, that essentially had their claws in me, right? And were like feeding off of me, right? Whispering things in my ear, things that weren't true, things that, that I was supposed to believe and that I had been believing for the longest time. And, and I'm like sitting there, it's like, like having a panic attack, but you can't do anything. You can't move, you can't breathe, no, nothing. And then just literally my spirit inside of me, just by instinct, just started saying, Jesus, 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 save me. And at that point in time, dude, these things just left. And I was sitting there, literally in tears, because like that was the truth I was seeking. And that happened because like I'd been told growing up, Jesus saves. But it's one thing to hear that and be told that over and over again. It's another thing to experience it. And so after that, it's not like I went straight back to church boy again. No way. I was not done living my, my fun life, drugs and girls and all kinds of stuff. And it took me another few years to like fully let go of that. But after I started turning my eyes back to Jesus again, things just started falling off of me. And I became a completely different person. The person I am today is absolutely not who I was, a decade ago. Well, actually, let's see, how old am I now? Yeah, a decade to 15 years ago. And so I'm very, very, very thankful for that and for that experience, because it was illuminating, seeking you will find,
I was
knock
just
and
gonna
the
say
door will
that,
be
like
open.
you were knocking hard. You're
Yep.
knocking at the door and seeking like crazy. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people go through that. I mean, I don't know how many people
Yeah.
talk about it, especially on like a public platform and stuff, which is also why I wanted to get into it. I think that people need to hear that they're not alone, especially when they're seeking through all this stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to shift gear. That was awesome. A great story. I love it. I want to dive into some like entrepreneurial stuff, right? So I know you don't really coach anymore. I think you coach like kind of like pro bono to the people who need it. Like it's almost like a little calling thing that, at least what I've experienced with you. Like I've known Drew probably a couple of years, and I've only been in business for about a couple of years. So when I met him, he was like, not only did he become a client, but he also he gave me a lot of guidance on growing my business and stuff. And what I found, what was kind of cool, like I still remember the first coaching call you did with me, and you did it for free, which blew my mind. But you had like questions that you asked, and it was almost like you always ask those questions to clients, or whatever. So I'm interested to like, what are those questions that you would ask, or like, are these questions that like people who are either getting started or they're running through a roadblock in their business that they can ask themselves to work themselves through, either reaching the next level or whatever happens to be?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Was coaching pretty consistently for about 3.5 years, helping people build personal brands, helping people build really all kinds of online businesses. But the focal point was on building a personal brand, creating a course or a product, and really helping people use their gifts and talents to impact people and change people's lives. And so did that for a long time. And a couple of years ago, as you know, I got super deep into trading and whatnot. And I was like, holy cow, man, like this, I was, obviously making great money coaching and whatnot, but at the same time was always an issue, having enough time and wanting to say yes and help everybody, but not having the capacity to do that. And so I was like, you know what, I think I just need to, because it got to the point where I was not really enjoying it anymore. And so it got to the point where I was like, okay, now that I see that, this is kind of the direction I need to be going in. I stopped taking on clients. And now at this point, I've got to put somebody in my path that he wants me to spend some time with and coach, whether that be life or business coaching, because technically I'm trained as a life coach, but because of my business experience, I do life and business coaching. And so, I kind of have, it's more of like a filter or a funnel that I put people through. And it really just depends on, what they're looking to do. I'll usually start every session with, asking them, what do you want to accomplish in this session, And if it's something personal, then that's the path we go on. If they're like, well, I'm capped at, $2,500 a month in my business, and I need to figure out, how to get to the next level, then we would kind of go in that direction. And so, as we kind of just move people through this funnel, ask them different questions, what we first do is we kind of just like ask questions to really dissect what they truly want, right? And if they can dissect that enough to where they've got kind of a few things up on the whiteboard, they can actually figure out, okay, out of all these few things, what is the one thing that I really truly want to focus on as we kind of go through all this. And so after we kind of do some discovery and get those questions, then you start asking questions to get them out of their normal frame of mind, because you can't solve a problem with the same thinking that got you into it, right?
Yeah.
I would quote whoever that is, but I don't remember. And Benjamin Franklin will say that. Somebody can check that later. And so, after we, kind of start diving into some of these things, asking some of these questions, I'll ask questions like, okay, well, do you know someone who is already at the level that you would like to be at? Yes, cool. Well, in this situation where you're at, what advice do you think that they would give you, or what do you think they would do as an individual, to overcome this problem, this wall, whatever it is. And so then we kind of go through. My hope is that they're, that they can create some SMART goals out of it. So we always like to create a checklist, of things that they can do, right? Whether that is tap into different resources, or read a new book on the topic, connect with individuals they know who are at that level, and then just kind of pick their brain. Successful people like to help other people because they had other people help them.
Yep.
And so as I used to have an apparel brand called Self-Made Threads, and the reason why it's not around anymore is because I was like, dude, I didn't do this all on my own. There was some amazing people that God put my way and amazing doors that he opened. And so I just think it's extremely arrogant to try to take all the glory for myself. And so, if you guys want some of the actual questions, I actually have like a cheat sheet that I actually could probably give you guys if it's close enough here. Here we go.
You got like a PDF of that, Drew?
I may have a PDF, something I created a long time ago. And so hopefully it's in the Google Drive,
Yeah.
So the funnel that we take them through is, number one is, what is your goal? What do you want to accomplish on this session? Number two, as I mentioned, is explore, just exploration of that goal, kind of what they're, looking to get out of it. What are their options, such as, what could you do to move yourself towards the goal? What type of obstacles could be keeping you from reaching that goal?
That's what I remember.
And then,
I remember these questions. Like, and it helps. It actually, it does accomplish what you want it to. So it's cool.
Absolutely,
and
bro.
by the
The
way, like
question,
when I talked to you, Drew, I think I was like doing like 2 or 3 grand a month, and now we're averaging around 20 to 25. You
bro,
know?
that's amazing.
Yeah, and
So awesome.
like so these questions work. You know?
They do, bro.
It's-
And the crazy part about it is they're not nothing special, but they're
no,
questions that we don't ask ourselves.
right.
If one of our friends had an issue or whatever else, it's easier to see the way out of your friend's problems or your client's problems. Not as easy to see the way out of your own problems. And that's why, like, no
Mhm.
matter what stage you are in business, you have to continue to level up who you're working with as a coach. I think it's super duper important. And if you ever feel like you're stuck in a rut in life, business, whatever it is, I truly believe a coach, a life coach or a business coach is going to be a much better investment than a therapist. And this is just my opinion. I'm not giving any medical or doctor advice at all, but I think it's better to move through things because we are living a linear life while we're in this third dimension. We're always moving forward. So if that's the case, if we want to stay present, we have to move forward as well.
Yeah, rather than processing the old stuff. Got it. Cool.
Yep. So yeah, after we kind of go through some of your options, we try to help them make a decision out of all the different options that they put out there. They may have like 10, 15, 30 different options, but then we'll go back through them and be like, okay, out of these options, how likely are you to do option number one on a scale of 1 through 10, right? And then they'll be like, okay, this one I probably won't do. I don't think it's gonna be that effective. Like, cool, cross it out.
Mhm.
And then once you find like maybe 5 to 7 of those options that are like, okay, 8, 9, 10, I will do this. I think these are going to be the most effective. Then we basically turn those into action steps. And then once they write those action steps down, I make sure that they turn it into a SMART goal, right? It has to be, oh my goodness.
Specific.
Thank you. Specific, measurable, achievable. What's the R?
Man.
Something R, realistic. Yeah,
Realistic.
realistic
Yeah.
and time specific.
Mhm.
So if they can do that, then they are on their way to, getting out of the rut and living a more exciting and fulfilling life.
Yeah, that's good, man. So write those down. If I can get a PDF out of them, I'll put it in the show notes. But
Yes, I'll search the deep files and see what we can find.
Sorry, I keep drinking water. Gotta stay hydrated.
Get her done, man. Yep.
Yeah. So now you're on to this. You created the Freedom Society, right? With a few people. And
Yeah.
I mean, you got the Freedom Society podcast. You guys got a clothing brand. You wearing it? The free.
Yes, sir.
Where's the link, dude? I gotta buy a couple of these shirts.
Bro, let me hook you up with some shirts. We're about to place a big, huge order anyway
Okay.
for friends and brand ambassadors and all that stuff. So I'll snag your info from you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I gotta get a few of those. And we'll hook that up in the show notes too, so you guys can all get those. But can you tell us what's that all about, man?
Yeah, man. Over the years, I've built different brands. I've always had my personal brand, which has been the constant. But I've just had different ways where, my current vision, right, could only see so far because I had not elevated to the point where I could see further. And so back then, when I had started Digital Nomad University, way before the Freedom Society, that kind of stuff, I started Digital Nomad University because I truly believed that the fastest way to get to a lifestyle of freedom, a lifestyle that where you enjoyed what you're doing, I truly believe that was through entrepreneurship. The majority of people that I had seen living the life that I wanted, having the freedom I wanted, they were entrepreneurs. And so I was like, cool. Well, what type of entrepreneur has the most freedom? And so I'd kind of go through that, and I found a few things along the way, and then found some, digital mentors who never even knew my name because I was watching their YouTube videos or reading their books or whatever else. But I picked up enough to be like, cool, and got to the point where it was successful and it was profitable, and it allowed me to be like, okay, I can breathe again. Now the money has caught up with all the things that I want to do. How can I share this knowledge? And so I would put that out through Digital Nomad University, teaching people how to create. At that point, it was a lifestyle of freedom through business systems, through passive business systems. And so, you know, in the last 3.5 years, that's completely changed. You know, I got introduced, I've been in crypto for a long time, and that's been great, but I was never like a trader. It was just like buy and hold. But then when I got introduced to, you know, the auto trading space, the artificial intelligence trading space back in November of 2018, you know, I set up the software, because my buddy told me about it, and I was like, dude, I don't want to have to learn how to trade at all. He's like, dude, you don't have to, like, this thing does it all for you. And I was like, okay, well, if I don't have to like learn how to trade, I'll give it a go. And that was at the end of November. December 2nd, I was flying out to Thailand, going back and forth between Thailand and Indonesia over the course of a month. And I set up this AI software to you know, basically do its thing while I was gone. And I did not check it one time. I just set it, forget it, didn't really think about it. And then I got back in January and looked at it, and I had made it, at that point in time, it was only like 7% on the month, right? Nothing crazy, but I made enough money to cover my round trip flights to Bangkok and back. And because of that, I was hooked. I was like, okay, that is, you know, I thought I've seen other things where you can make easy money or quick money, whatever. That's truly the easiest way I've ever made money. And I just became obsessed with this space. As you know, I've gotten,
Oh yeah.
I've gotten super deep in the AI, artificial intelligence trading space. Have tested, you know, pretty much every consumer available software on the market. The majority of them are garbage, but occasionally you'll find a couple winners. And, you know, now that I know what I'm looking for, you know, I just don't waste any time. And so after being in that space for a long time, losing a lot of money, making a lot of money, kind of figuring some things out, I was just like, you know what, this whole trading thing doesn't seem as difficult as I actually thought it was. I thought you had to be like some super genius, some numbers guy, some CPA head, you know?
I got a friend. Oh, sorry, I'm going to piggyback on top of you. You
Yeah.
keep going, but I got a friend today who made $22,000 on 3 trades.
That's crazy, dude.
3 trades.
That's crazy.
And you know, I'm like, I've been out of the space for a little bit, so I'm like, you know, not even doing it, but I'm going to get back into it for sure. But it's like a robot that goes, takes your money and brings back more money.
Yeah, exactly,
you know
bro.
what I mean? And then, by the way, I want to put this out here. This is not financial advice, or there's no like trade at your own risk. Do whatever disclaimer we need to put in here, we will. We're just you know, open your eyes to different options, because that you may never stumble upon without listening to this show. But yeah,
I'm basically an idiot. So if you listen to anything I say, you might get in trouble. So
yeah, that's just so cover my own butt, Andrew's butt.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. That doesn't mean it's not a group, something that's awesome. Anyways, it just covered your flight to Bangkok and back. You're like pumped off of this. You lost a little bit of money. You made some money, like learning in and out. Is this when you're learning to actually physically trade, or just using the AI robot? Or there's a few that are bad that have lost some money for you. You found some that are good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like the first spot I got on was like, it was pretty conservative, but it was super slow, right? And I was like, there's got to be other ones out here, right? So I started going on this search, yada yada. I had one software that I thought I was running pretty conservatively. Long story short, I didn't know enough about the market to realize like, nope, not the case. And I ended up blowing like it was an $82,000 account. And I blew $72,000 of it. Woo! In a day. Yeah. And I was like, Gah! And you know, that threw me off software for a while. I was like, dude, like that hurts. Like I'm done. Let me go build my business for a while. Cause like that was a big hit, you know, as far as my portfolio went. And you know, the more time went by, I started realizing like, dang man, like if I can lose $72,000 in a day, if I actually figured out how to trade, like actually trade, not even rely on software, I could probably make that 72 grand back, if not in a few months, at least a year. And so that got me connected with some of the guys, literally one of the top traders in the world, that I have been personally mentored by and you know, basically studied under. Started learning how to trade from him about 2.5 years ago. And I was still playing with software because I knew that technology was only getting better. Artificial intelligence was only getting smarter. And so now I do a combination. I leverage AI, and then I also leverage manual trading. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, after I figured that part out, you know, as far as the investing side of things, I was like, dude, entrepreneurship is actually not the fastest way to freedom. Trading and investing is truly the fastest way to build the lifestyle I was looking for, at least. And that's not the same for everybody, but but now that I've delved deeper into this arena through investments and whatnot, I have found dozens and dozens of different little pockets to just go put my money, where it's compounding faster than the average person could spend it. And so that's what I really want to bring to people is like, yo, you don't want to start a business? No problem. You do want to start a business? Great. We can help you out with that too. But otherwise, we want to, help people create financial freedom through passive investments. And that is where the Freedom Society was born.
It's good stuff, man. You're speaking truth. Cause like, there's some people who, like, for you, trading your time at all was not what you really wanted to be doing,
Right.
I like building a team. I like hiring and training employees and talking to clients and making sure, you know what I mean? Like, that's not for everyone either,
Right.
And I wouldn't feel fulfilled looking at a computer trying to trade in the same way that, you know what I mean?
Dude, exactly. Yep.
But I tell you what, I'll go give my money to a robot so the robot can bring me some more money. Right.
Absolutely.
And just so you guys know, I put like, I don't know, it's probably like 10 grand in there. And I would ended up making like 4 or 6 in like 3 months. It was like crazy. And then, I got greedy and cranked up my settings to like not conservative, right? Which is my fault, you know what I mean? But I think it's like natural learning. Like, same thing that happened to Drew. Thank God it wasn't 72 G's, man. But I think
losing money is never fun, but
no,
yeah.
But the end result was I was in this for 4 months, and even after the big loss, my big loss, I was still up 2 grand from what I put in,
Amen.
So it's definitely something to look into. If people are listening and they want more information on this, or they want to at least like see what it's about and see like for themselves that either this is perfect for them, not for them, how should they get in touch with you? Should they go follow the Freedom Society and send them a message on Instagram? What's the best way?
Yeah, man. If you holler at us on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, it's going to be myself or several of the other people on the team who can respond to you. But realistically, your best bet is probably to go to our website because there's a link that could take you directly into our Facebook group on there. So if you go to livefreedomsociety.com, Live Freedom Society, that's going to take you to our primary website. If you guys want some rad apparel, you can grab that there. If you guys want to read some awesome blogs about freedom in your finances, in your health, in your mentality, whatever it is, some incredible blogs on there. But yeah, if you guys click the button on the main page, that'll take you into our Facebook group where we kind of keep everybody updated with kind of the latest and greatest, like, hey, here's what's working right now. And here in the next few months, we're actually going to be launching a financial literacy course that's going to help people understand exactly what to do with their money, how to invest in, low risk, medium risk, and high risk type projects, just depending on what type of person you are. So that if somebody wants to truly retire in the next, 2 to 5 to 10 years, depending on where they're at, they have the ability to do that. That's the age we're living in right now. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. A lot of people, they shy away from opportunity because they think it's like risk, which it is risk. Don't get me wrong. It is risk.
Absolutely.
But those risks are what pay you out, or whether it's financially or there's a lot of things. I mean, it's risky going up and asking a girl to go on a date with you.
Absolutely.
It's risky asking a girl to marry you or saying I love you for the first time. It's risky, a lot of things health wise, what you eat and what you decide. Anyways, I want to get people to, especially through the show, look at different opportunities. Look, at least you don't have to jump on everything. And what you'll notice is as you start to look at risk as opportunities, you're going to see a lot more opportunities in front of you.
Truth.
And then you got to see if it aligns with who you are and what you want to do. But don't just for me, it was don't listen to my parents. Don't listen to my mom who would say, you know, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. You know, there's a lot of things that seem too good to be true that I've stumbled upon that like they work. Like if I, dude, in my first year in business, I did 30K. Second year, I did 220. Like,
Bro.
like that's too good to be true. And then like
Exactly.
we're gonna do 500 this year and a mil the next, or not, if not more. You know, like that's too good to be true. But
totally, bro.
And now my mom's looking at it and she's like, I don't understand. She goes, I don't get
I
it.
always believed in you.
Yeah, right. Well, she did. Like, that's the other thing is like, it's weird because she supports me and she like was like, go after it and do it. But she's like,
amen. Awesome.
But still, that was like something that was too good to be true. That those things do work out. So I mean, just open your eyes, go. It's not going to hurt you to go join a Facebook group and see what it's about. And I mean, like, what's a type of investment like someone, if they wanted to try it to start off with, or can they like try like a demo account or like something where they don't have to put any money in and risk their money at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, where we'd like to take the Freedom Society is actually have, people that they can consult with. It's like, hey, I'm 45 years old. I'm pretty much paycheck to paycheck. I'm going to get a bonus at Christmas or maybe taxes or whatever. I'm going to get $4,000 back this year. I'm not going to spend it on going out to eat and, going to one or two decent football games, blah, 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 blah. I'm actually going to save this $4,000 and do something with it. Where would you recommend I put this $4,000? And so like, that's where we want to get eventually, once we've kind of got the personnel to be able to walk people through that. We're only going to give them opinions when we'll never give them financial advice, but we can at least share like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Nothing is guaranteed. But most people would say high risk, high reward, right? Yeah, but in my opinion, it's if no risk, no reward. So there has to be an element of risk in life. Otherwise, are you even living, And that comes with everything. Just like you said, asking that girl out or, eating gas station sushi.
It's
Take
risky
every once
man.
in a while.
But if you're really hungry,
Yeah, absolutely, bro. So yeah, if someone wants to, jump into the group, they're going to see us, talking about, posting about some of the different opportunities that we have. And then, if they decide that they wanted to check out the software, we can get them hooked up to do a little trial on it for free. They don't even have to put any money in. It'll be literally a demo account with fake money. They'll get to watch it trade. They'll get to learn it. It's about as hard to learn as the first time you switched over from PC to Mac. You know what I mean? It doesn't take long, but at the same time, it's different. And so, that's about it. So yeah, if anyone has any interest in that, just holler at me. I'm very, very good friends with the owner, and we can get you hooked up to test things out if you'd like.
Cool, man. That's awesome. Yep. Thanks for sharing that with them and just offering to help them out. Also, I'm trying to think here. I had something else I wanted to bring up. Well, shit. I don't go blank on the podcast very often because I'm sick with medicine.
Yep, exactly, bro. Get more water in there. Get that brain.
More water. It was something with the AI, the trading system and something about that in the group. Oh, the group's free too, right? Like no one has to pay to be in your group.
Oh yeah. That's a good call. That's a lot of people ask that question. I never remember to say that, but yeah. Totally free Facebook group. Pretty much everybody has a Facebook, whether they use it or not. Not, here and there, the older you are, the more you do, the younger you are, the less you do. But right now we have everything in Facebook, but we're in the process of building out a brand new Discord channel because it just seems like there's a lot of action going on in Discord, especially the people who are interested in the things that we talk about.
That's true.
Real estate, crypto, Forex, you name it. So we'll be moving there eventually, but don't worry, if you're in the Facebook group, you'll get that notification ahead of time.
Cool, man. Well, there's a couple of questions that I ask everyone. It was like 3 questions I ask everyone to come on here. It's kind of like a little branding thing I got going on here.
All right.
It's also like a signal that the show's almost over, guys. So number 1, what do you think your biggest regret in your life is?
Golly. Biggest regret in my life, dude, that's so hard because, like, if anybody else were to talk about regrets, like, there's literally not a single one I have. Um, because it's all made me who I am. Um, I I don't know if there's a single regret. Because yeah, I know exactly what I would say. It's just, yeah, it's a difficult
That's all good.
conversation to have.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, living in Joplin, I took myself and some friends out to jump off a bridge and swim. And if I could take that day back, I would,
Oh, wow.
because one of my buddies drowned that day. And
Jesus.
like I said, it's made me who I am. But at the same time, like, for his sake and his family, that is definitely one thing I would change.
Mm. Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry to, yeah, bring the
No,
vibe
no,
down.
I'm like, I mean, thanks for being, willing to share, like, um, and I'm so sorry. Like, that's like terrible thing to have to go through, man. But I'll say a prayer for him. He's with Jesus tonight,
Yep,
Um,
absolutely, man.
and what's one book that you think could transform anyone's life, or like, one book everyone should read that's going to transform their life?
You already know that answer, but
I know you do. I know. You can
um,
say it and then say another
I'll
one afterwards. But you know what? I have like mixed feelings about this, because I've had quite a few guests, they say the Bible, right?
yeah.
And then
I actually wasn't going to say the Bible, but
what? Okay.
okay,
Well, interesting. Well, okay. That's, I got to hear the other one now.
yep.
But sir, is it Surrender to Love?
No, not Surrender
No.
to Love.
Um,
Different. You're actually right. It is the Bible. I was going to say, but I was going to try to get a little bit more nitty gritty for this type of audience and say Proverbs,
Proverbs. You're gonna pick a
a
book
book in
in
the
the Bible.
Bible.
Yeah, got it.
Yes.
Yeah. That's cool, man. No, but I have a few that will come on, even when Cal was on, that they're gonna say the Bible, and I'm always like, oh yeah, but other than the Bible, I'm like, why do I have to pick something else? Why do I have to make them pick something else? But
Yep.
yeah, I think, yeah, I don't want to discount the
I'm
Bible. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff's like
exactly.
gold. But,
If you guys are like taking a reading list and you're trying to figure out what you should read next, you guess what? You don't have to read all 1,700 pages of the Bible. Go and read Proverbs. There's exactly 31 of them. We're going into May. If you start Proverbs 1 on May 1st and you read one proverb a day, you'll get through the whole book in 1 month.
yeah,
So
so school me a little bit on Proverbs. Are these like stories, songs? What, like, I feel like there's something about them that I should know, but I don't know.
So King David, right? Jewish King David, who killed Goliath, like, pretty epic story in the Bible. One of his sons was a guy named Solomon. And Solomon, when he was getting ready to reign over Israel, he was a humble man, very similar to his father. And when he became king, God asked him, literally directly, God was like, what do you want? Now that you're king, what do you want? And because, he wanted him to take care of his people. And so Solomon, as a young man, says, I want you to grant me the wisdom on how to rule these people the correct way. And that's all he asked for, was wisdom. And God liked that answer a lot. So much that he told Solomon that he will make him the wisest man that will ever live in all of recorded history, to the point where he'll know things about things that nobody else for the entirety of human history will ever know about. Smartest man that ever lived, right? Most intelligent, most wise man. And on top of that, not just make you the wisest man of all, but I'm also going to make you the richest man to ever live. And so to date, nobody has ever come close to the wisdom or the riches that King Solomon amassed. And so it's just a very interesting book. When you take when you give the man, the wisest man in the world to ever live, a pen and a paper to write down his thoughts, you're not going to walk away from reading that book saying, well, I feel dumber, Never.
Cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yep.
that he wrote that. That's
Yep.
awesome. Well, I mean, if you're going to read a book, then you might as well read a book from the wisest man in the world. Jeez.
Absolutely.
I might have to do that challenge one a day.
Yep.
They're
I'm
not that
actually
long.
doing it right now. So I think
Are
that's
you?
kind of what brought it to mind. Is I've done it many times before, but I actually just started a Bible reading plan on the Bible app with Scott and Shane.
Oh,
So
cool.
we're all kind of keeping each other accountable. So it's good. Yeah. I do have one more book for you though, that actually did change my life. And that book is The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. Magic of Thinking Big. It totally changed the way I looked at thoughts. And, because I mean, dude, like I said, I told you, I was just a little nerdy homeschool kid who was getting in trouble all the time. To ever become anything of value to the world, it's only through a relationship with God, the direct creator, and because a crap ton of personal development, and for anyone who's listening who has not read a book in the last month, I mean, let's even forget the last year, 3 years, or even since high school, because I think it's like 82, 83% of people never read another full book after graduating high school. Crazy. But if you want the cheat codes to the real world, you got to read books. They are the cheat codes.
I read 3 in April, I think.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Makes all the difference, bro.
Big time. And I listen to it. I mean, you do the same.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. I'm like,
exactly. With my dyslexic brain, bro. Yep.
I'd fall asleep trying to read it. But yeah, it's definitely their cheat codes. What do they say? Like the secrets to life, or like locked away inside books or something like that. I'm butchering the quote, but like it's
essentially that. And most people never find the secrets because they never
open the book. What was the other book? The Magic of Thinking Big, or the
Magic of Thinking Big, David J. Schwartz.
Cool. I haven't read that one. I'm looking for another one because it's just wrapping up Profit First. It's like a big financial model.
Absolutely. Have you read Hormozi's new book?
Oh yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. I have not yet. I
literally started that one
2 months ago and I forgot.
That'll blow your mind, bro. Blow your mind.
Sweet.
Yeah. It's all value. Like it's not like something you read that has a couple stories, but it's like do this, and this. And like
crazy.
Yeah. Actually, the week I read it, I had my biggest week ever. Well, it's not, I've beat it since then, but it was my biggest week at the time of 10K, like that.
Jeez,
yeah,
dude.
like I did it in 3 days, actually. It wasn't a week. I did in 3 days, I just sold 10K from reading his book. It was insane. Really, really cool.
Okay. Noted, bro. Speaking of wise dudes, that dude's got some wisdom for sure.
When you're talking about like what would you do, or like when you're writing down the obstacles or problems that you're having, he's the person I think of. I'm like, what would he do if he were in my shoes? Because he's really good. Yeah, it's the magic of thinking big. I know we're kind of going over time here, but you have another meeting? I don't want to hold you.
Nope, you're good, bro.
Got a couple minutes? Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
The magic of thinking big reminds me of like either like the 10X rule or like these things they call like C-type goals. They're like almost fantasy, but it causes you to think and create solutions to problems that you never could at the current level of thinking. Like imagine you have $5,000 of debt and you need to figure out how to pay off $5,000 of debt.
Yep.
What you would do and how you would do it would never work. It would work to solve the $5,000 of debt, but it would never work for $500,000.
Right. Not even close.
So like if that's your, like, if you could think like, oh, I have $5,000 of debt, what would I do if I had $500,000 in debt?
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, and you had to
You
go by
gotta
a certain.
expand your
Yeah.
mind so much broader to
Mhm.
come up with a solution for that.
Yeah. Is that sort of what it's about, or is it like, am I reading it wrong?
It's more about how you think as
Okay.
opposed to, going for the macro scale of things. It talks about in that book, there's like the three, oh goodness, the three diseases of failure, I believe.
Mm.
I won't give them to you guys
Yeah.
because you should read them. But there's the three diseases of failure. So if you're in a season of your life where you don't feel like you're winning and you feel like you're failing, read that book, and it's going to point out those three diseases, which are mental diseases on how you think, so that you can call yourself out and hold yourself accountable to getting them out of your life so you can move forward.
It's good stuff, man.
Yep.
This last question. This one will be interesting for you because I think it could be positive too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you like magic time machine. You can go back in time any year you want. Well, any time in your life, and you can go back and talk to only yourself, but you're only allowed to say 3 sentences. What age would you go back to, and what 3 sentences would you say?
Uh, yeah, I know exactly when I would go back to. Because if you have 3 words, you can only make so much of an impact in 3 words.
3 sentences.
Unless 3 sentences.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Okay, 3 words would make this a lot harder and easier because I know exactly what I'd do. If it was 3 words, I'd go back to 11 years ago, maybe 12 years ago now, to myself when I was still in corporate America. I had just heard about Bitcoin, and I'd go tell myself, buy more Bitcoin. Those would be my 3 words. Those would be my 3 words. Now, if I could say 3 sentences,
Buy more Bitcoin.
yeah,
So
yeah.
true, man.
If it was 3 words, 3 sentences. It's tough, man, because there's like I wouldn't almost want to interfere with my previous self.
Mm,
In the fear of changing who I am now.
yeah.
You know. Um,
I'm gonna give you a
but
second
if
to
I
think.
could,
I'm gonna tell a story while you think, though.
yeah,
This
please.
is good. I went through my own phase of messing with psychedelics and stuff in my day, right?
Yeah.
And one of the most impactful one was I was in the redwoods in California, like 3 hours north of San Francisco, and I did peyote, like some mescaline, right? And it was
Yep.
we like made a tea, or I said I did it by myself, like,
Yeah.
and it had been aging for a while, and we didn't know if aging made it stronger or weaker. So I took like triple dose because we thought it made it weaker.
Yep.
After the trip, we found out it made it stronger, but that's a whole another
Yep.
issue.
Yep.
And I remember after hours of going on this journey in the redwoods by myself, I sit down at a stream and I had like a conversation with my 40-year-old self. It was like the weirdest thing. Probably why I asked this question.
Whoa.
It was weird. And I was asking, I was like, what should I do? What's going on? What do I do? And he goes, don't worry about anything. Just keep doing what you're doing. Everything's gonna be good. Just keep doing it. It must be like it was really calming,
Yeah, absolutely.
like,
God,
and like
I'm gonna be
short,
fine.
yeah, like everything's good. You're like, don't worry about it, you're good. And
Wow.
and that was probably 6 months before like some major like terrible things happened that like took my life for a different swing.
Wow.
And so even with that happening, I was just like, I did remember that. And I was like, just keep on going. Now I'm like, I got a beautiful family, an awesome business. Life is good. Wonderful friends and relationships. So yeah,
Dude,
as long as it keeps on this trajectory, he was right,
Yeah,
Even if it was
absolutely.
but like you're saying, like he probably didn't want to mess with anything. He was probably like, this is good.
Yeah. Dude,
How real it was, who knows? But
right.
like,
Well, that's the thing, bro. Like I said, there's so much more out there that we'll never even comprehend. Maybe Solomon could have explained it better to us, but
yeah.
at the same time, there's just certain things that we have to be okay with not knowing. And that's where faith comes in. You know what I mean? Trusting the plan, trusting God, and making sure that you're aligned with his plan and not trying to forge your own path. And it's not an easy thing to do, because you have to forfeit the things that you want sometimes to get there. But boy, oh boy, will you be 10 times happier and more fulfilled if you do it his way.
Yeah. Think about those 3 sentences.
Bro, I got nothing, bro. This
it's all good.
So difficult.
Yeah, I like your buy more Bitcoin. That's a good one.
Yeah, I'll probably just stick with those 3 words. That way I don't change the timeline too much,
Yeah, just buy more Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Cool. Forge your own paths. That reminds me, there's like a definition for sacrifice. It's kind of cool. It's like giving up something you want now that will be more rewarding in the future, or something like that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Giving up what you want now for what you want most.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Man, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time and staying a little bit longer, because this is a fun episode. I like, going back and forth with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of cool. It might turn some people off, might get people more excited or curious about stuff. So I don't really care. I'm like, just put it out there, and I hope this helps you guys. I say this at the end of every show. I don't want to sell you anything. I don't want you to go buy any of their stuff. I'm really just doing this because I want to help people. And your payment, right? I guess I am selling something. I want you to share this out. I want you to go and share this with someone, because this could go and help impact their life, or change their life, or change the trajectory of their life. And you never know who needs it. So just go share this episode out, leave a review, get higher on the ranks, so that I can get more awesome people just like Drew Taylor here. Go follow him. It's at Drew T Taylor. I think it's everywhere on social. Go follow at Live Freedom Society. Same thing everywhere on social. Check out their stuff. Buy some of their swag. And man, yeah, thank you again for coming on, bro.
Heck yeah, absolutely, bro. Thanks for having me on. If you have hate mail, you guys can send it to me. Don't worry about this guy. Send it on over.
Until next time. Peace.